don't know if Charlie and I are up to it after all. But we're having a party. We're having a big party on New Year's Eve. So we want to invite all of you. And the party is about having fun. And part of that party fun is Encore Productions doing some karaoke. And Charlie and I said, we're in. But now, I don't know. Well, we'll go first. But this is going to be so much fun. And Dave and Marty brought this book from all the songs that you could possibly ever have hummed and never knew the words all the way through. It's all in this Bible. It's going to be back there at the events table. And we just encourage you to all come. It's going to be a wild and crazy fun party, right? So we'll talk more about that, but he just brought this book today, and I just thought, oh, story of Jesus, karaoke, story of Jesus, karaoke. That was fabulous. Fabulous music. And, you know, that's a song that I think we've all related to sometime, right, in our upbringing. It's a song that stirs our heart. It's a song that I feel is a totem song. The way Mary and I feel, we will be here always for you as the bridge over any troubled waters. Every practitioner, every minister, that's what we're here for, is to be that bridge. So you sang it so powerfully. It's so stirring. Thank you. I'm excited to share a few things with you today. And during the night, I remembered this story. I was trying to find it elsewhere in like the real Bible. But this is a book. Look how weathered this is. It's called The Story of Jesus. And I was looking at the inside flap, and it says, to Bonnie and Susan from Mommy and Daddy, Christmas 1954. That touches me. It's such a old, but my mother would read the Christmas parables to us from this book, and this book is what I understand. So in part of the talk tonight, I wanted to share with you one of these stories. But before I go there, this talk today is about money is God in action. And I ran across this quote from Helen Melicott. She wrote this book called 100 Gates. I was regretting the past and fearing the future. Suddenly, God was speaking. My name is I am. I waited. God continued. I am not there. My name is not I was. When you live in the future with its problem and fear, it is hard. I am not there. My name is not I will be. When you live in this present moment, it is not hard. I am here. My name is I am. I am. So speaking, this is our Sunday wrapping up this intentional giving. You've all been so respectful of our heartfelt intention to share financial good and to share the idea and the pureness of what that really means for each and every one of us. And so some of the information I share, I return to the book by Marie Nemeth, The Energy of Money. And she reminds us that abundance is a lesson of its energy. Abundance is a lesson of its energy, and what frees it, what focuses it. What is that? And remember in our own understanding here that more is not the goal. It's teasing out there. We keep thinking we want more. I'm at a pivotal point, and I was sharing my heart with Diana Wolfstead, trying to decide about my retirement. It's coming up close. You know, when it was a year ago, I was going, yeah, pretty cocky. Yeah, come December. Yeah. Well, it's December pretty soon. And all of a sudden I'm going, is there enough? Can I do this? Is it going to be enough? So it stirs a bellyache in me of wondering, do I do this? Nursing's been my life's calling. Ministry is a place I serve, but nursing was a calling. And So I'm challenged in my heart to walk away. So now I'm starting to play with the pieces and trying to talk with God and say, hey, I got another deal here. I think I could, you know how that is when it comes up. So these are the things that I need to work with. I'm polishing it, I'm looking at it, and I'm facing it. But more is not the goal, and I need to remember that. We deceive ourselves thinking that we're driven to have more. We end up leaking our good and wasting it or hoarding it and fearing that it's going to be gone. And this masks the pure law that we live in an abundant universe, and it flows. It's always good, and it's always flowing. So those are some of the wisdoms of Marie Nemeth, and she says we are spiritually asking ourselves to be in the yes of life and to at least speak to the possibilities of yes. What is the possibility of yes in your world? And gradually start to participate, gradually test the waters. And this intentional giving has been an opportunity for you to participate in that, to really, I love the ones of you that are wearing your little flower, to say, this is my center. I take ownership. This is mine. I belong here. This is my family, my fellowship. This is where I cross the bridge over troubled waters. This center holds me and guides me and stirs in me a greater understanding. So this whole month has been an invitation for you to look deeply into yourself. What is blocking you from giving and receiving this good? And so I come across, my mind kept talking in the middle of the night about Jesus and finding the fish and feeding with the fish and the loaves to the thousands of people. But then when I opened up this book this morning, this is what I opened up to, the coin in the fish's mouth. Now, how many people remember that parable? A few of you? Yes! It's always good to know that. I forgot about this one. And it's so pertinent. In Judea of the day, it was the custom of all the men of Israel over 20 years of age to pay a small sum to the church under the conscious giving program for the upkeep of the great temple at Reading, and as a ransom, and this was also, get this, as a ransom for their souls. Hey, I could be preaching that. If you give to the intentional giving, it's a ransom for your soul. The coin was collected all over the land and was conveyed to Jerusalem by honest messengers. No matter what a man's circumstances in his life, whether rich or poor, he paid this annual tax, for it was designed to signify that the rich paid no more than the poor, and the poor paid no less than the rich, since all were souls of the one. Now, one of the collectors of this religious tax came to Peter, the leader among the disciples of Jesus, and asked him why the master had not paid. Do tell. The master, Mary, where's your little? No. So, why the master had not paid. And it was true that the rabbis customarily did not pay, and Jesus was by many regarded as the rabbi or a priest, though he was not an official member of any organization, of any temple. It was also true that the wanderings of Jesus, his preaching and healing everywhere in the land, kept him going from place to place, so that the tax collector may have missed him. Good excuse. But what was still more true than all was the fact that as the Son of God, it was not fitting for Jesus to pay a tax for the upkeep of the temple. Had he not already said that the temple was his Father's own house? And if the money was intended to ransom the soul of the payer, how could Jesus pay it, since he himself was the supreme redeemer of all souls? Don't you wonder? I got you on the edge of the seat. It goes on. But Peter did not think of these things. Impulsively, without asking Jesus first, he just said, well, of course the master would pay the tax. Then going to the house where Jesus was, Peter suddenly realized that perhaps he'd been a little bit hasty in his answer, and that after all, it might not be fitting for the master to pay. However, he chose to tell Jesus of it now and went on out to find him. What do you think? Jesus asked Peter in a very kindly voice with a friendly smile on his lips. What do you think of this practice? For whom do the kings of the earth take their toll and taxes? From their own sons or from the sons of other men?" And his answer, Peter said, was from the sons of other men. "Then the sons of kings are free from the necessity to pay," Jesus concluded. And his meaning, Peter saw very clearly that since he was the Son of God, the greatest king in the universe he created, he too should be free from the necessity of paying. Yet Jesus was not angry with his disciple. He merely smiled as he pointed out what Peter should have known for himself. After a pause, noting Peter's embarrassment, Jesus spoke again. "Nevertheless, lest we should offend those who collect the taxes, we shall pay." Clearly, Jesus did not want, especially at that time, to put any more difficulties in his way of his ministry or to go against the religious organizations and authorities of the time. Doubtless, they had sent the collector to him to annoy him, but he would meet this affront with generosity, as he always did. He would pay the tax rather than cause any trouble. Before Peter could ask where was he supposed to get the money, since neither he nor Jesus or any of the disciples carried money, Jesus spoke to him. "Go out on the sea and cast a hook into the water. Take the first fish that you catch and open its mouth, and inside you will find a coin. Take that coin and pay the tax for me." Here, perhaps, Jesus emphasized that voluntary giving was far better and more spiritual than payment of any compulsory tax. Probably he could have avoided payment if he really wished, but instead he paid, and he made of the payment not an ordinary taking of the money from a purse, but from a miracle itself, an indication that even the tax could come from the Son of God only by unusual means. Peter did as Jesus told him, and lo, in the mouth of the first fish he caught, he found a coin and used it to pay the tax. What does this have to do with anything? "Tell us," they said from the far. It's how he chose to give. Not giving, I make this statement here, you will never hear me say that you must tithe 10%. That will never come from me. For many religious doctrines, it is spoken. To me, that doesn't come from the heart, it comes from a doctrine. And so whatever you give, the invitation is for you to give wholeheartedly from that place of wholesomeness within you, from the place where the miracles do present themselves in their glory, in your experience, in your life's work. You give where you can give, and you receive back tenfold. And I will always say that is the truth of the spiritual law. So we are asking ourselves to be in this place of yes in the giving, to be a part of something greater, and to invite yourself to take ownership of the center and to make it your center, to decorate next week with us, to come to the parties and play. This flow of energy is what we call our interconnectedness. It allows us to feel the creative urge and to see where we can open up our place of giving, to be part of the miracles, to be part of the possibilities that keep showing up always on our path. So our Save a Day is coming up, and we have these wonderful Christmas trees to decorate, and we are grateful, so grateful for what this year has been for us. And just being grateful frees our belly. It softens us. It allows us to be in the flow. So you look around the room, and you'll feel the familiar. You'll feel it, you'll see it, but then when you look deeper and you catch somebody's eyes, and you catch the child trying to enjoy a teddy bear, and they sweep out the room with it, it just happens so quick. All of these things, if you weren't here, you would miss it. And all these moments open up your heart. They allow you just to enjoy what is here as we free the belly and free the mind and allow ourselves to continue to want to be here and to give from this place of giving. So this connection, what is it doing? It's connecting you to the soul, to your soul, to the soul of you, to where you know and you have invested what are the qualities of your life. What are the qualities that are true to you? Integrity, generosity, forgiveness. What are the ones? Telling the truth is one of mine. standing in truth, speaking my word, and living in my principles to all of you the best that I can, and forgiving myself when I fall short of that, forgiving all of us when we fall short of those moments. But my soul's guidance is what leads me. And so when you set your standards to your soul's guidance, this will give you the fortitude to look and see and tell the truth about everything that's on your path. That's what Nemeth calls the hero's way. And just recall that you are meant to do this with ease. This standard that I speak of speaks to who you are. Ask for the guidance from that place. When you see that you're out of alignment, then you can, with your standards of good, ask yourself, what authentic action can I take to restore balance in my way of being? I feel shut down, closed, contracted. Why? Why? How can I remedy my soul force? And you allow this identity with your deepest standards to bring balance back. Ask yourself, how can you express your standards in everyday life and praise yourself for everything that you do? Can you and are you willing to take the possibility of expressing your worthiness and your loyalty? Can you praise yourself every day? Expressing our worthiness and our loyalty and our compassion allows our hearts to shine. These are the qualities with which you can dance with abundance. And so there's a quote from Marie that says, "You and I are compensated immediately when we intentionally and generously send energy away to others from ourselves. Self-esteem rises and you have the ability to make a difference right now. You bring that energy from the metaphysical to the physical." This is what wholeness is all about. So there's the other author, The Soul of Money, that I spoke to before with Lynn Twist. She starts this book. It's fascinating to think that anywhere in our planet right now, there was any culture that was operating with no idea of money. Isn't that hard to even fathom? That she starts her, and this, Lynn Twist runs the Hunger Project, is what her life's work became. But she's very honest. Her life story, she had a wonderful husband and 2 children, and she felt like they were providing everything there was in the world for those children. And she felt like they were really good parents. Why? Because they had a lot of money. And so they could have nannies to take care of them. And they could give them all the toys they want. And she also expresses how she got caught up with that theory of staying up with the Joneses. But when you're living in a wealthy world, one thing makes you want to have not just a camping trailer, you want the cabin. And then you don't want just the cabin in California, you want it in Colorado. Or the Swiss Alps. It just keeps growing. What you need is more and more and more. And she speaks of what changed her world. And she speaks of this thriving village in the Amazon rainforest, a 10-day hike from any form of civilization. And there she met this gentleman named Chumpy. And this culture of people, although he was only 26 years old, he had very few interactions with money. Very few. His indigenous group, his tribe, had lived without money for thousands of years. Without the money. So she goes on to share that they learned how to raise families, build homes, and maintain community, all without money. These people were highly attuned to the most significant influence in their life. What was that? It was the power and the force of nature and their relationship with one another and the forest. They had no relationship with money. No relationship with money. And this was all understood, that everyone shared with everyone else and everyone took care of everyone else. So he grew up in that environment, but soon multi-million-dollar industry was approaching the rainforest and wanted the land for oil and produce, And some of his other tribal neighbors were mistaken with the money. They took the money, but they didn't know what to do with it, so they soon went right through it, and they had nothing left. So he saw the error of their way, and he chose to understand money. So he came to the United States and lived in her home to understand money and how things are reciprocal in their actions. He taught them a new understanding of money as well. So their whole way of being in family shifted. And their relationship with money shifted into a place of holiness, a place of service to others, a place of no longer, and it was a gradual shift. First she did it, and then her husband was very successful in the money management world in their town, and slowly people got pulled into the joy that they saw in them by using their wealth to be in service to others. So therefore the Hunger Project grew from that. So think about this thing that we call money, that we kind of separate out. Yeah, churches, I love the music, and then, oh, here's the offertory. Think I've got to go to the bathroom. You know, it's like, you know, what is that? What little ways do we kind of stir inside of us to avoid it? Today, when the basket goes around, I invite you to really look into it. Certainly offer if you can, but look into it. Look into that money. This is people's life's work. And if you see dollar bills, think about whose hands, how many hands that dollar bill passed through before it ended up in our good here. And how many more ways that dollar is going to go out and serve our community. Just really look at the good as it passes instead of here comes the basket. And instead of saying, I don't have anything to give today, I already gave, look at it and just feel overwhelmed at how much is coming, looking back at you. All that life's work, touching that form of giving. So she shares that money was not a product of nature. Money doesn't grow on trees and pennies don't rain from heaven. Money was an invention, a distinctly human invention. It's a total fabrication of our genius. We made it up and we manufacture it. It is an inanimate object that had appeared in many different forms. It is more than 2,500 to 3,500 year history, whether we're talking about shells or stones or precious metals or a paper bill or a blip on the computer screen. From the very beginning, money was invented to facilitate the sharing and exchanging of goods and services among individuals and groups. Money still facilitates that sharing and exchange. But rather than relating to money as a tool, we created control. We have come to relate to money as if it's a fact of nature, a force to be reckoned with. This stuff called money, mass-produced tokens, paper bills, with no more inherent power than a notepad or a Kleenex, has become the single most controlling force in our lives. You gasp. But think about the ways her writing kind of stirs you to look at it slightly different. What is different in here? As you, again, I invite you back, connect with the standards, the soul calling, and recognize as you come here to achieve wholeness, to achieve balance. To achieve balance means don't give beyond your means. Don't give out of have to or resentment. Look for balance and allow that to flow into the gifts of your time, treasure, and talent. So being driven is not good enough. That's going to restrict your flow, just trying to be good enough. Look at whatever's in your life, whatever you're doing. If you're stealing a little bit here and there, if you're stalling with paying your money, look at it. Look at it with your whole soul and say, my soul is a soul of integrity, and I choose now to operate from that place. So notice in the places where you separate money off and you're not whole, what are you justifying in what you do? How are you blocking the flow? Look for examples in your own experience and start to clean it up. Work towards the standards of your soul. This is Lynn Twist inviting us, because it's costing you a lot more by not cleaning it up. Testimony after testimony of people that said, well, I didn't claim this money on my income tax for my home business because they never knew about it. But what does that do years later? Every time he gets a notice or something from the IRS, his stomach, they've got me. So what do you do to clean any of that up? One lady stole some toothpaste, and she figured that her teeth were going to fall out. She was worried about it so much. So she went back to the store to make amends. All she said was, I don't think I was charged for this toothpaste. A little of a fudge story there, but she made amends. She cleaned it up. It's no longer her story to carry around. It's no longer clogging her flow of divine giving. Clean it up. Clean it up and ask yourself, what is this costing me by not cleaning it up, by hoarding and being stingy? What's it costing me? Let it go. Go into the knowing of the spiritual nature of the divine flow and be free. Joseph Campbell says, money is congealed energy. Releasing it releases life's possibilities. Hold money, touch it, feel its use for any purpose you choose. And think about all the people, as I go back to that, think about everyone that has held that dollar bill and how they used it. How has it traveled around the world? Sense the energy moving in the monies of your life. The energy of that single dollar bill as it flows from you. How do you do money? How you do money is really how you're doing your life. The smallest parts of life and matter reflect the properties of the universe as a whole. That's the holographic universe, and we know that. So how do we do the small things in our world? Our relationship with money is a metaphor for our relationship with all the forms of energy. Look at how you're doing that. See money as something fluid, flexible, flowing. Don't stop it. There's wise ways of investing and accounting for your money, but make sure you're not doing it out of fear or lack or hoarding. Ask yourself, what do I need to do to have money circulate in my world? You can love money. It's okay. It's okay to love money and to be so grateful. Shared with the earlier service, Catherine Ponder says, there's gold dust in the air, and I ought to have it. Sure, it's in the ethers. How are you going to accumulate and manifest that good in your life and give it back? Ask yourself, what do you need to do to have more money circulate in your world? Don't fear it and don't avoid it. Create it so it's self-sustaining. Faith. Faith is what's called for here, and do you have that faith? Do you have the amount of faith that it takes? And if you don't, where can you clean it up in your world experience to know that this is unfolding in your life right here, right now, on purpose? You're hearing these words on purpose. As we enter the holidays, there's going to be many choices that you make. Watch the not enough. Watch the I don't deserve. Watch, I really want to give this person this gift, but it's off the budget that I set. I said 20 and it's 25. Maybe it'll go on sale. Watch all of that and do what your soul calls you to do, not what your fear is telling you. So I'm going to invite Judy forward. And this idea of a money treatment by Dr. Raymond Charles Barker is very powerful. So kind of feel this as you think about your good as we enter this holiday season, as we close this intentional giving program. Where have you been? How have you done the walk? What is the spiritual message for you to take home with you today? And join with me as I speak these words from Raymond Charles Barker. I now subconsciously accept this treatment. There is only one creative cause. There is only one mind. I name it God. There's only one life. I name it God. There is only one substance, God. This present universe is the glory of God. It is moving, flexible, fluidic creation. It is alive with the life, the abundance, the richness of God. Each one here abides in prosperity. Mind created each and every one of us in order that it might act through us. Therefore, each and every one of us here is a receptive vehicle to this abundance. And as we become receptive to the circulation in our life in the form of money, a greater good unfolds. This money, God's idea of circulation in our world of finance, accepts these ideas completely. As each and every one of us appreciates these ideas, money is God in action. It is absolute good. It is wholesome. It takes us into wholesomeness. It is a blessing. And we now prosper with each and every moment. Having no fear of lack, we believe now of the plenty. It is God's activity in our world. It is God's activity in our bank accounts. It is God's activity in every investment. It is God's activity in everything we lay our hands upon. Money is flowing. Money is free. There's no need to lock it up. No need to fence it. It's God's money. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. Release it. Know that it comes back, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I, each and every one of us here, are free. We rejoice, we appreciate, and we give thanks. We have money forevermore, and we use it for a greater good, and so it is. So, thank you for listening, because the ideas of prosperity and speaking of the divine bounty, as Ernest Holmes shares. The idea from Ernest Holmes, there's no fear of tomorrow. Enjoy everything today. Enjoy it today. Enjoy it today. Refuse, Ernest Holmes says, to carry the corpse of a mistaken yesterday. Woo, that's kind of a stinky thought. What untold misery is suffered through the burdens imposed by our yesterdays and the bitter prospects of our tomorrows, going back to that quote, I am. Claim it. I am prosperous today. And so it is.